Welcome to the Green Wisdom Health Podcast with Dr. Stephen and Janet Lewis, where you will learn about natural solutions to common ailments. And now, here are your hosts, Dr. Stephen and Janet Lewis.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Green Wisdom Health Show. I'm Janet Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Lewis.
And we thought we would come to you today with a couple of exciting things. One is we have some fall savings coming up for you, so stay tuned for this. But the name of this show is called Are You Sick and Tired of Being Sick and Tired? We decided to do a podcast. Dr. Lewis has been very busy writing some books for you guys on how to eat correctly, nutrient-based eating. He's also doing some webinars, so I've had him very busy, so I apologize for the lack of podcasts coming on, but because people are getting another round of being sick again, and for some people it's the third or fourth time, we thought we should come on the air and talk to you a little bit about what may be causing that, some things you could take to help you beside the common things like vitamin D and that sort of thing, and why it's so important that we see about going into fall with health. So, Dr. Lewis, would you like to talk to the audience? I think they might have missed you.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you, Melinda from Nederland, Texas, for being so compliant and getting such great results. It's funny fact of life, but secret that you get out of it, what you put into it. So sweet little lady down in southeast Texas, and thank you, Eric, for sending her and dozens of others. Here's the deal. I would love for y'all to do me a favor and write me, doc@greenwisdomhealth.com. Is that right, Janet?
It is, because he's actually had a little problem with Facebook and his Shooting Straight page, so he's not getting any direct messages on that now. He's still checking it, but Facebook has their own rules, and they decided to make one. So we still have the page. He just doesn't see the post right away, so don't think he's ignoring you. He will be on there to answer.
Yeah, doc@greenwisdomhealth.com. Email me, and I'd like to know your opinion. Do you like the podcast? Should we do more? Should we do less? Because I have been busy. And, we can do more if we need to, but we want to know what it takes to reach you. So, I'm going to ramble. Normally, I'm just slow about everything, but, we have a short show, and like they'll saying, a long way to go and a short time to get there. We're going to talk about, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? And there's so many different reasons, and I want to talk just a little bit about the relationship between cortisol and DHEA. And those of you that patients, you remember me saying, DHEA is responsible for at least 150 different processes in the body to heal your brain, heal your body and brain. And it's the youth hormone. You get less as you get older, not because you're older, but because you have extra decades of toxins which slow that down. And there's a relationship between that and cortisol, which are two of the things you don't normally see on lab that Janet and I routinely do. Suboptimal levels of DHEA have, they've been demonstrated in patients with numerous chronic disease states, which includes inflammatory diseases, which is IBD or rheumatoid, mood disorders, who in the heck has not been stressed these last 2 or 3 years, and chronic pain syndromes, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, and DHEA has been shown to reverse the classic stress-induced physiological responses. It varies with age, and I have mine about 2 to 3 times higher than what my age says in the reference intervals. And I feel about 30 years younger than what I am, and that's part of it. Cortisol should be at a very optimal level, not too low, not too high, which cortisol affects so many things: heart, your vasculature, your blood pressure, water excretion, electrolyte balance. And the thing about that is, you can be super stressed and it goes high, but then sooner or later those little adrenal glands, which put out cortisol and DHEA, they blow, they get fatigued, and then it's worse if it's low than if it's high. It's harder to deal with.
Which turns into chronic fatigue syndrome. And some of the symptoms for that are fatigue that doesn't go away even after getting good sleep, that you can't fall asleep or stay asleep, and we hear that a lot. Muscle and joint pain, and that's one of the things Dr. Lewis is actually working on, is a webinar about how pain correlates to different problems besides just showing it to you on lab. I think it's pretty cool. We're going to do it a little bit different way, because he's a chiropractor, and because of that, he is able to actually put together the pain elements of some of the dysfunction going on internally, like chronic fatigue.
Yeah, how musculoskeletal can be adversely affected if your thyroid hormones are off, or if this is off, if that's off. And there's a huge correlation. It's just indisputable.
Yeah, beside the muscle and joint pain, people get frequent headaches. They're frequently getting sick, like we're seeing now, having a sore throat, cold, or flu-like symptoms. They're gaining weight.
Melinda said her headaches, which she had every day of her life, now she only has one once in a while. So, God, I hope you're listening down there in Nederland, Texas.
Digestive problems like constipation or cramps, mental fogginess, and trouble concentrating or remembering things clearly. And you talk about cortisol being right or wrong. We have a lady that called in the other day. I think it's the coolest story ever. She's walking the Appalachian Trail. She's on our supplements.
Thank you, Bridget.
She's been walking since March from Maine to Georgia, or Georgia to Maine. I didn't ask her which direction she's going, but she says she's almost at the end. But she reached a high point at one of the mountains and decided to call me and place her order so her products would get to her on time. So I thought, super cool. So this stuff works. People
that have good results are the ones that don't make up excuses. They just do it. Far as the ratio of cortisol and DHEA, that can affect, as I said, musculoskeletal health, osteoporosis, osteopenia, renal calculi, which basically means calcium oxalate stones, which we've talked about on many of the patients, muscle wasting. I hear that more and more. For some reason, the last 2 years or 2.5 years, we've seen more muscle wasting, more livers going to heck in a bucket, more kidneys going crazy for some strange reason. And, if you put in the nutrition to allow your body to begin to work how it knows it's already should be working. Your body has an innate intelligence, but our food does not have the proper amount of supplements or nutrients in it. Weakened ligamentous and cartilaginous tissues, think bulging disc.
Impressive.
Neural health, which, that's depression, anxiety that we talked about, and Janet can tell you all about that. That's why this is successful business, because she's a little OCD and not crazy. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not crazy.
Sorry, honey.
Okay.
Insomnia, as she talked about, the mood swings I talked about, but a lot of the different pain syndromes, easy bruising, and vascular fragility. Yeah, I'm hearing that more and more. People say I'm bruising like an old man on Coumadin, and I'm not on Coumadin. So, yeah, that's part of it.
And what's doing that?
Well, the wrong ratio of cortisol to DHEA.
Oh, interesting. That also causes yeast overgrowth as well as frequent infections and hormonal deficiencies that are sometimes overlooked in your regular blood test. Thyroid problems, and maybe that's a good time to mention now. I know that times are tough for a lot of people out there monetarily, and a lot of things are going up. What we have decided to do is go backwards with that and have it go down. So what we are offering for the next about a month, it ends October 17th, we are offering you 20% off of your lab work. So if you've never done lab work... And
that's a huge deal. It's holy deal. Jesus, super cheap anyway.
Right, but that includes Dr. Lewis's function. So you still get everything. We're not taking anything off. We're actually giving you all the lab. We're giving you a consultation with Dr. Lewis, a functional medicine report, and supplement recommendations. And
for those of you that hadn't done it in a year or two, Janet's, we're adding more. We have more than we did a couple of years ago. And she added the TPO and thyroid antiglobulin antibodies for the women and the D-dimer to the men, and the price didn't go up. Now she's taking 20% off, which means I probably won't get a Christmas present.
And I also added a thyroid panel. So if there's a lot of people that just want to see what their thyroid's doing, Dr. Lewis, don't talk to him about it because he'll tell you, I'd like to see more, because he really does. And many times it's not your thyroid. But if you think it is your thyroid, or you know it has been in the past, there is now a thyroid panel. That one's also 20% off through October the 17th. You just need to go on our website, greenwisdomhealth.com. There will be a promo code in the box, and you need to type in the words fall savings, and it's a capital FALL space savings with a capital SAVINGS. And that will take 20% off instantly. You'll be able to see the price and then just finish the checkout process. And then I will put your lab order in your little portal that we've come up with. So, pretty good deal. We've never been able to do that since we've partnered with a different lab company. We're able to offer this periodically, so we thought it was a great time now because people really need to know their numbers and not just guess or just stay on the same things they've been on forever.
I didn't think it was a lab company. I thought Janet was a crazy good negotiator.
I've heard crazy twice this morning. This is beginning to offend me. Is this one of the symptoms?
Yeah, well, something to do with bad excrement, something like that. Endocrine dysfunction, heavy metal toxicity, which we'd talked about before. It helps increase liver detoxification. I'm back on cortisol and DHEA. Hypothyroidism, as Janet just mentioned, and it has to do with T4 to T3 conversion. Premenstrual syndrome, men, if you're smart, you'll never mention that. Infertility, I cannot tell you how many babies across America that women could not get pregnant, and then boom, all of a sudden they get their body healthy through us and they start having babies, but nobody's named one Stephen yet. Severe menopause, insulin resistance, and I'm really big on insulin resistance because people say, well, I can't lose weight, and it's like, well, it takes a long time to reverse that speeding freight train of disease and stop it and then reverse it going toward health, and insulin resistance is one of the big deals.
Yeah, and then there's some natural things that you can do because I know maybe you take supplements and you still feel this way. So has it got something to do with what you're eating or drinking? So you need to change your diet to solve adrenal fatigue by avoiding caffeine.
Oh, God. You go from preaching to getting personal, honey.
Someone's got a cup of coffee going over here.
And she made it for me.
I did, because I know he needs it. So he talks a little faster during the podcast.
I am a spoiled man.
Have you noticed he goes a little slower? So if I give him caffeine, his speeding, his voice picks up. Avoid excess sugar and carbohydrates.
Oh, Jesus. That's most of us.
Hydrogenated oils.
That's the big thing, and that helps create insulin resistance. And if you eat out, you can't avoid them. If it's processed foods, you're taking them, and people say, what do I do about them? I said, besides cutting it way back, eat more and more and more of the good fish oil. All fish oil's not the same.
Okay, good. Processed and packaged foods. Not good. And maybe driving through the fast food lane. And we did hear a funny story about that yesterday. If you get caught at Hardee's, you might be eating the wrong thing.
I'd be embarrassed if the FBI stole my phone and I was in the Hardee's line. It's like, holy cow!
It's more embarrassing that you were in the Hardee's line than the phone got stolen.
Yeah, from the FBI.
Yeah. Eat healthy fats. And do proteins and plenty of fresh vegetables.
And that is fish oil, but that's also coconut oil, walnut oil, avocado oil. Stay the heck away from corn, vegetable, canola's poison, peanuts, questionable, sunflower is better.
Interesting little tidbit. I always learn something new from Dr. Lewis because he's like some sort of walking encyclopedia. I had a lady yesterday ask me about prebiotics and probiotics, and we don't carry prebiotics. We carry probiotics. And she wanted to know, well, why don't we carry them? And I thought, well, I don't know. I'll ask him why we don't carry them. So he said, why would we do that? He said, most prebiotics come from your vegetables.
It's fiber.
It's fiber. And I thought, Oh, cool. And I said, so you can just literally eat vegetables, that's your prebiotics.
There's a lot of people out there that get caught up in the smoke mirrors and sizzle and no steak, and because everybody's trying to sell us all something. So if you're eating your vegetable, and this lady said, well, I don't eat vegetables.
Yeah, that's what she come back with.
Well,
She
that's
goes,
why you're not in
Right.
Bikini stage every year. Saying, I need to get skinny for my bikini. And she's a sweet lady. I love her. But
that was the last thing she put. She goes, well,
eat your vegetables.
Yeah, she goes, I just don't eat them. And I'm thinking,
Well, duh.
well, I can't do that for you, but isn't it interesting that you can eat a vegetable and that's a prebiotic, and then you take your probiotic? So, see,
Well,
little tidbit learned.
The fibers, kind of the staging area. And people say, well, you've got to have inulin in it. It's like, yeah, well, I see, and it's not a bad thing, but I've seen people take the probiotics with inulin, and then they blow up when they take it and wonder why they're bloated and have massive amounts of gas. It's because the candida, or overgrowth of yeast, is going ballistic on that stuff. So it needs to be done in stages. It needs to be done wisely.
Yeah, you talk about a yeast and overgrowth, that sort of thing. I had a lady that called. She was a chef at a restaurant that we must have eaten at 10 years ago. I do not remember really eating there.
We have memory pills.
That was 10 years ago. She called me the other day and she said, oh my gosh, you're Janet Lewis. I said, I am. And she said, I finally found your name 10 years later on a piece of paper where you had given me olive leaf as a product because I had a type 2 tick bite, type 2 limes, I think it was. And I said, how did you get that? She said, from a mosquito. She said there was actually 2 or 3 people there in that little town that got them. 2 of them died. She did not die, and she's crediting us with saving her life over olive leaf. And olive leaf is a huge antibiotic.
And I thought limes came from ticks. I don't know. Yeah, Janet thinks I'm
she
smart.
Said a mosquito.
Like, I don't know everything.
I don't know, but she said that she survived because of it, and she offered to pay me for those products that I gave her 10 years ago to get better. And I said, you know what? Calling me 10 years later, I don't even think you could give me enough money to compensate that. It's let's just call it good and be glad you're back.
We don't even remember it, so,
But we get a free meal out of it. She's building another restaurant and going back to work.
and the people that come back and say something positive later.
Yes.
Thank you. It keeps us encouraged because we need that too.
Yes. So there's other causes of being sick and tired of being sick and tired. Everybody's going to love this one. A sedentary lifestyle. Having a desk job, having lack of movement, having back problems, chronic pain, sitting all the time, and lack of motivation. I will tell you, Brandy is not working for us any longer. She went back to school. She's working on a degree in nutrition.
Guess where she's going to end up later.
Right. She'll be back here. But it's caused Dr. Lewis and I to get a lot of exercising, moving all these products around and, getting up on the shelves and stuff. And I thought, man, I've been sitting a lot. And she actually was very active. So we've cured that little problem. So now we're energetic. He's still having coffee, so he's thinking about that.
No, you just tell me when it's time to talk.
Well, you can talk about depression. How's that?
I can do that. If you have an overgrowth of yeast and say you have brain fog, or if you say brain fog, it's almost always because the yeast put out something called thyminase and stops your absorption of thiamine, which you don't get enough of anyway. And so I'm going to get to that in just a second. But causes of fatigue is I think it's called an acronym called dead tired, depression, environment, anxiety, anemia, asthma, diabetes, thyroid and tumors, infections, rheumatologic, which means arthritis, endocarditis, heart inflammation. Boy, we've seen the holy heck out of that the last couple of years for some reason, and drugs. And this comes from Journal of Family Practice Recertification. So one of the best things you can do, and oh my God, I do it, is L-carnitine. And the form we've got, you get about 100% of it, rather than the best you could do before that was 65% of it. It does require other optimal amounts of nutrients, and that's why I tell people take the multi. It's a super, super good one and costs about half as much as it should be, but you need that. Carnitine is transported mostly to the cardiac and skeletal muscle. That's why as a chiropractor I'm interested, and 98% of the total body of carnitine is stored in muscle and heart. It's an essential nutrient. It helps transportation of long chain fatty acids. That's why Janet said eat good fats. But it goes to the mitochondria matrix. Mitochondria, remember, we talked about that. That's a powerhouse that you have a jillion of them in every cell. Jillions and overstated, but there's a lot of them in each cell. And it's the energy producer in each cell. There's certain things that can cause you to have carnitine deficiency, but for the most part, it plays a big central role in the metabolism and production of energy from fatty acids. So you have to have the good fatty acids.
It actually gives you more energy than a cup of coffee. I've tried it both ways, just having coffee. And
yeah, I do both.
Yeah. Well, yeah, after you do the coffee, then do the carnitine. It's like, whoa, what a kick.
And again, I seriously feel about 30 years younger than I am.
Right. That I overdid the carnitine at first because that's what I do.
She was doing 3 a day.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, good God.
You really don't
want
to do it
you're
at night.
132 pounds. She says, Stephen, I'm not that fat. I said, well, okay, I don't know how much you weigh, honey. I'm sure it's 120, but I don't know what she weighs. But
that's all right.
She
120.
Well, thereabouts.
Maybe 119. Anyway, the carnitine, also I wanted you to talk about the other one that we have that's kind of a new product for us.
Yeah, but it's been really popular.
Yes.
It's called Ageless Cell Revive. And I thought, it's a powder. You can put it in your coffee. It does not make your coffee taste bad. It tastes a little bit like a creamer, but it helps support healthy cellular structure, function, and cellular signaling. It was actually manufactured more for brain health, but then they found out it works with the mitochondria and helps you have energy all through the system. So it supports the mitochondria. It supports your immune system. Pay attention, folks.
Yeah, as people have been getting more sick.
Supports GI barrier health. Think leaky gut, which leads to fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome.
Helps What's in it?
Well, it's sunflower lecithin, but there's all kinds of lecithin out there, and I personally think you can avoid the holy heck out of soy lecithin. Go for sunflower. And this is the good stuff, but it helps digest and process fats, so it helps with your focus, it helps with cognitive function, it helps with overall brain health. My mother already had dementia when she was younger than I am, and me and my brother, Dr. James Lewis, who's a Dean's List chiropractor, we threw supplements at my mother, and she was a willing participant, so we put off dementia for about 25 years. She had it in her early 60s, and it didn't really kick her butt till about 88 to 92. After 92, she was kind of out of there. But what is 25 years worth of better cognitive function worth? It means, well, she made more chocolate chip cookies and cherry pie and things like that.
And now we're working on my 85-year-old dad, so he's still going. Just got him a new heart valve from a cow. He has a problem with steak now, but
yeah,
his mind is good because I keep giving him all these things. He said, I know if it had not been for your supplements that I would not be where I am now. He said, I have no doubt about it, and he is so religious. He was not as religious for a long time, and whenever his heart valve started going bad, he realized he was in deep trouble.
And then his 2 surgeons came in and said, we do not understand what happened. This was the smoothest, easiest, quickest surgery we've ever done, especially being 85. So what we're telling you to do, and more people are stocking up, now is a really, really smart time to stock up. In this Ageless Cell Revive, the phospholipids actually they're recognized like a T cell. Now, T cell's a killer cell, which can kill yeast, fungus, virus, and pathogenic bacteria. So it's very, very important because it triggers that innate immune defense.
And I wanted to mention another thing of being sick and tired. Could be anemia. We've had a couple of people that have said Oh no, I had my lab work run and my red blood cell count's just fine. My hemoglobin, hematocrit's just fine. I said, did they run a ferritin? And they were like, I don't know what that is. I said, right. It's stored iron, because the iron they run that you think is fine is out in your bloodstream, but it's not what's stored.
Looking at hemoglobin and hematocrit's not a bad thing, but that's like looking at a junkyard full of cars or a brand new parking lot full of cars. You don't know which one you're really looking at. It's not specific.
Right, and so that's why I'm telling you the lab work is imperative. That is on our comprehensive panel. If you have never run a lab at our office, it's super simple. All you do, because people go, I need an appointment. You don't really need an appointment. All you need to do is go to our website, because I have this totally automated now, greenwisdomhealth.com. Fill out the health survey, cross off everything going on with you and all the medications you're on, and it will tell you which panel is the correct panel for you when you're done. It hits submit. It picks a lab panel. If you want a lab panel that's got more in it than that, that's all fine, but that's going to be the minimum panel it recommends for you. And like I said, put in the code fall savings through October 17th, so you can get 20% off of that. And then you can have, I think on the comprehensive, it's 12 different lab panels. So most people come in here from their doctor. They bring us 1 to 3 panels and ask us what's wrong. And we're like, I don't know. You don't have enough lab. Do you want us to just guess? Because that don't seem to be working well. Which is why we don't do that. So,
but if you throw it in, God gave your body an innate intelligence. It will take these supplements or nutrients and work with them. And there's so many toxins that we've talked about, and I talk about that a lot. One of the most popular, relatively new supplements we have is called EnviroDetox. It has the zeolite clay, activated charcoal, shilajit, which is from Prima V, which is the, by golly, most absorbable there is, which is fulvic acid and humic acid. And, there's even research talking about cleaning agents trigger flu-like symptoms and fatigue. And this is just very, very brief. Some of the things that can help with chronic fatigue syndrome, and just fatigue in general is B vitamins from Journal of Neurology talks about it. Minerals, tryptophan, which 5-HTP works wonders for me. Amino acids, CoQ10, essential fatty acids. We talked about the good fats. Malic acid with magnesium. Oh my God, if you're not on magnesium, you need to be. And chlorella, detoxification is good. N-acetylcysteine, lipoic acid. We sell a lot of N-acetylcysteine and L-glutathione or reduced glutathione. Lipoic acid is in the berberine alpha A. So it goes on and on and on. And then there's even, oh my God, the CDC. Yeah, no, I don't trust them either. But they have endorsed manipulation of the intestinal flora to treat diseases, Journal of Modern Medicine. So, probiotics.
So, we are glad you listened to this show. Like Dr. Lewis said, we'd appreciate feedback to tell us if you still are enjoying the podcast.
Should we do them?
Actually, we'd like to know if you'd like to see him on a webinar as well, because he's super excited about that. And then, he keeps telling you guys to go read these books, so he's just decided to write his own. So keep a lookout on those. They should be out in probably a month or so. And I'm sorry our show has come to an end, but it has. So, Dr. Lewis, could you leave us with just a few words, please, as we end this show?
Just a few words. That's tough. In your health, don't be careful, be bold. The atmosphere you're in always will create the health you have or the health you want. You have to take action. Living big requires taking action. As we get older and older and older, I want to take more action. So God bless you, and we'll see you later.
All right, you guys have a great week. We'll be here next time on the Green Wisdom Health Show.
Once again, our show has come to an end, but your hope in your health is only beginning. If you or a loved one are in need of a different outcome and are waiting for a brighter future, take the first step and go to our website and fill out the health survey. Please don't keep us a secret. If you know someone that could benefit from this podcast, please share this show with your friends and family. You are only one step away from a life worth living.